What's going on, Doe fam? Back with another video. Hope you guys have been doing well. For today's video, it's going to be around Alien Base. Alien Base is a base native DEX on base chain, and I wanted to just cover you guys purely around the case because I don't think I have done a dedicated video around Alien Base. I've definitely done like showcases in the past, but not like a full-on dedicated video of what it is, and just a Thesis update on why I'm so bullish on Alien Base. And of course, you guys really turned up on yesterday's video. You guys did 1,000 views on last video with 100 likes. So really thankful for that. I think it seems like you guys like the dedicated videos, but let's see, because it was a dedicated coverage around Toshi. But let's see how this video goes, because if this does keep up, I would be doing more dedicated videos around different base native tokens. But yeah, so without further ado, I'm Dope Oxide. I make content around YouTube, X, and CoinMarketCap, so be sure to follow his pages, be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. First of all, for liquidations, a very low volume day. Of course, it's Sunday here and probably Saturday, finishing up Saturday for America. And just something to note, we're actually having a lot of short leverages coming in. We actually have a differential of nearly 4%. And usually when it gets this high at 4%, 3 to 4% is really where there's probably going to be an inflection point and probably some squeezes to whatever the opposite side is. So with that in mind, I would not be surprised on Monday opening we have some short squeezes to occur, because the short ratio is so large right now. We're nearly 4%, and usually the markets try to go to the 50-50 way. Just to remind you once again, like 4% is actually a really large amount, and generally, like, I don't think I've ever seen this go above 5%. So keeping that in mind, if you guys are using leverage, which I personally don't and I don't recommend, be on the lookout, because I would not be surprised some short squeezes occur. When it comes to the liquidation heat map, we're actually having a lot of liquidations happening on both sides. So ideally what happens on Sunday, we actually have a fake out to the downside, getting all these leverages for the late longers. So probably around down to the 116K area. Then we could go on a merry way, because I do think this week we'll have a Bitcoin all-time high, and more than likely Ethereum will also make a new high, because the Ethereum chart just looks so amazing right now. And when it comes to long-short ratio, nothing has changed. I believe it actually has started, so it started to make new highs and looking like it's on the verge of squeezing above and beyond. And I told you guys previously, like, look, let me just draw this better. Yeah, so it's looking like this has squeezed above. We actually had that retest, and that's actually pretty interesting to see, because it just tells me now the final leg to the bull cycle is starting to begin. And if this thesis does play out, the chart will probably look something like this, where we just squeeze above and up, because pretty much every time Bitcoin has massive legs to the upside, we've had a massive squeeze. So like the last time we went from 40K to I think 70K, we just went up only on the long short ratio. So I do expect something like this will occur for the next 3 months for Bitcoin as well as Ethereum, etc. For Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, like it's actually more bullish than I realized, because look, we actually didn't even test as resistance. We just sliced straight through, and this just tells me Ethereum has so much more strength than I thought. And just to give you guys a reminder why this chart is so powerful, this is a parabolic trend line, and I'm going to invert it just to make it easier for you guys to understand. If I invert it, this is a typical parabolic trend line, and this is what I meant by when parabolic lines break, it usually ends up to where it started. So technically, this parabolic trend line, of course, it's got 4 different angles, and usually on that 4th angle break, it usually means the parabolic trend is broken, and more than likely it's going to head down to where it started from. And where it started from is technically that first angle, which is the 0.05 key region. Of course, I don't think we're going to hit it, because it just, like, it seems too bullish. Like, that means at current prices for Bitcoin, Ethereum will 2x from here, which means a more than $7,000 Ethereum at the minimum. Of course, I do think Bitcoin is going to head to the 150K region. So that would probably mean Ethereum probably goes to like 10K if the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart actually hits that 0.05. So yes, like, I don't think you guys are bullish enough. I don't think I'm bullish enough, because it's looking like to me we're about to close a daily candle below the actual trend line. So let me actually just zoom in. We actually technically did close below. So on a textbook case basis, the next target is all the way down to the 0.042 region, which is technically, what is it? It's about 37%. So assuming Bitcoin stays the same price, Ethereum is going to make a 37% gain. So what gives that for Ethereum? So 37% is about, it's just over all-time highs. Yeah, just over. So at 4.96K. Of course, Bitcoin's probably going to make a new high if that's the case as well. So Ethereum probably will go well into all-time highs at the end of his bull cycle. It's looking really good. Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is looking damn amazing. And same goes for Bitcoin. Bitcoin just seems like to me, it's retesting new zones, and it's just getting ready to liquidate the shorts once again. as you guys can see, we've been in a consolidation pattern for the past week, and we've retested it twice. So on the 4-hour, we retested it here, and it's looking like it really wants to stay above it, and continuation will occur. Disregard this moving average because I was just like testing around on offline. And yeah, so this week I do expect a move up to occur, because really when it comes to time for the bull cycle, we don't have much time left. Like, in my opinion, we probably have like 3 months maximum for the bull cycle. Of course, that doesn't mean like we don't have much left to go, because every bull cycle, the last 3 months is usually the most explosive run to the upside. And like I said, 150k is the target, and I do expect our altcoins on base chain to go absolutely crazy, because once that happens, Ethereum will go to all-time highs, and we're going to just have a massive influx and inflow of retail users into the base chain ecosystem. And that's why I've been telling you guys, look, you guys have to accumulate base native tokens, because it's a clear high beta of Ethereum. You've got Toshi, Alien Base, Aerobud, etc. You can't really go wrong, but of course, when I cover these tokens to you guys, none of this is financial advice. I'm just relaying what I really see when it comes to base chain, and also just the TA market analysis. But next up is the Total 3. Total 3 looks amazing right now, and there really isn't nothing else to note about. It just looks like it wants to trend upwards. We made this arbitrary line back in early July, and I do think continuation is to occur. We must see some turbulence at the 1.1 trillion area, which is obviously to be expected, because we did technically double top at this region, and it just seems like a lot of sellers will step in once we hit that area. But next up is the main part of the video, which is Alien Base. Of course, Alien Base is pretty much one of the best DEX trading experiences on base chain. It's technically the second largest base native DEX on base chain by TVL, Aerodrome being by the first one. And of course, disclaimer, like, look, I'm not bagging on Aerodrome, because I know some of you guys wonder why I avoid it. The reason is, like, Aerodrome, I do think it's going to head into all-time highs, and I really hope it does, because it is like the life and soul of base chain, because based on the sole reason that Aerodrome's token is LP'd with a lot of tokens on base chain. And what I mean by LP'd is, every time a token gets deployed, it's paired with another token. So as you guys can see, Aerodrome is paired with the USD pairing, and a lot of other tokens on base chain are actually paired with the token with Aero. So if Aero goes up, generally that means base chain is also going up. Just the same way when Ethereum goes up, base native token assets go up, because a lot of other tokens on base chain are actually paired with Ethereum as well. So it's looking really good. And when it comes to the chart, really, I believe the Aerodrome chart is actually making 1-2 Elliott waves, which is good to see, because generally a 3-4 is going to occur, which is a much more explosive move. But of course, for Aerodrome, when it comes to risk reward, it's much safer than Alien Base, of course. But when it comes to multiples, like, look, Aerodrome, I think at the absolute maximum, it's probably going to do like a 3 to 5x from here. I do think it's going to head to all-time highs 2 billion, but based on the case that it's very inflationary, when it gets to the 2 billion market cap, it's actually not going to be technically all-time high by price, because the inflations is like at least like 10 to 15% a year. I believe it might be more than that. You guys can correct me. But it's definitely less than Alien Base, and it's less than Alien Base because Alien Base actually goes through emissions halvings every 9 months. So it has dropped the emissions quite a bit. We actually had a halving. I think we had a halving back in June, so the emissions have dropped quite a bit, and that's one of the main reasons why also I really like Alien Base, because it's much more sustainable. It's not as inflationary as Aerodrome, and I know some of you guys like to hold crypto for multiple bull cycles. So that's definitely a strong disclaimer, because Aerodrome in like 4 years time, I think the supply will technically nearly 2x by then. So that's just something to note, because if that does happen, a $2 billion market cap for Aerodrome is half the price in 4 years. So of course, when it comes to this existing bullet cycle, it's going to do very well, and I really think it does. And Alien Base, in my opinion, is just going to have better multiples. But when it comes to Alien Base and the price chart analysis, look, when it comes to the logarithmic chart, it's actually looking really bullish. I've told you guys multiple times, Alien Base is in a massive accumulation range. We've got the 3 main major points. We've got the upper bound, mid-range, and the lower bound. And as you guys can see, every time we've broken the mid-range, either from the upside to the downside, there has been a leg up to occur. So as you guys can see, every time we retest it, leg up, retest, leg up, retest, leg up. And same goes to the downside. When we retested as support and broke down, we had a massive dump to the downside. And then when we broke it back above, we had a nice leg up to the upside. So same goes for now. We had a retest, we had a breakout, and we're actually making our merry way to the upside. And really what's left now is that upper range. So as you guys can see, we've had a wick on the 3-day, and it's looking like to me there is a lot of sellers at this upper range. And really the nail in the coffin for the bears, for Alien Base at least, is really that $17 million area, because once that gets confirmed and closes above, more than likely we're breaking up. Because another thing to note as well, as you guys can see from this yellow transparent line, and let me just delete these circles. As you guys can see, this downtrend has actually been in existence since November 2024. And it's a pretty valid trend line because we actually tested it multiple times. So once a support, twice a support, third time as resistance, fourth time as resistance. So ideally what happens, we get closes above the upper range accumulation area and break out of his downtrend slope, because that just tells me resistances are getting broken, buyers are stepping in, there's seller exhaustion, and we're making our way for a new trend to occur. Because as it stands right now, Alien Base is still technically in an accumulation range and is yet to break out. Something to note when it comes to fundamentals as well for Alien Base. Alien Base actually has what is it? Let me go to the page. So yeah, when it comes to fundamentals, TVL for Alien Base is actually $34 million, which is actually 2x the circulating market cap, which is actually really bullish to see, because of course TVL metrics will scale along with Ethereum's appreciation. So say if Ethereum appreciates by 2x, more than likely the TVL will also do that, because a lot of the TVL metrics within Alien Base is actually paired with Ethereum. And that's just something to note, because when it comes to TVL sort of provides a strong support for the minimum market cap for tokens. And it's really looking like, to me, Alien Base is technically undervalued because the circulating market cap is half of the TVL. But nonetheless, when it comes to price chart analysis and places to bid, that purple box I made is a crucial risk to reward area to accumulate. Of course, we're broken out, but let's see, we could actually just reject, which it technically looks like we are, and wait for that retest down to that 12 to 13 mil area, and then have a nice little leg up to the upside later on, maybe in sometime in August, because I really do think Alien Base will break out, especially with Aerodrome gaining strength. Because like, look, if Aerodrome makes its way to 2 billion plus, I really do think Alien Base is going to go massively risk on, and as well as just base chain in general, because Aerodrome being one of the main tokens of base chain, if it goes to multiple billions, more than likely Alien Base will attract a lot of that inflows and capital. And I wouldn't be surprised if Alien Base gets to up to 20% of Aerodrome's market cap. So you guys can do the math. If Aerodrome goes back to its all-time high, which is 2 billion at the minimum, Alien Base could potentially go to 200 mil. Of course, I don't really like giving price targets because it just depends on the Bitcoin and Ethereum and how they go. But when it comes to purely TA analysis, it's really looking like Alien Base wants to break out, and it's just a matter of time. And of course, when it comes to spots to accumulate and good positions to accumulate for Alien Base, you got the pretty much below the 13 mil area is a good spot, because it's just a major risk to reward level, and I really don't see Alien Base going way down to the lower bounds of the accumulation range at 6 mil. The only way that happens if Bitcoin happens to have like a 40% nuke in one day, which I don't see happening for the foreseeable future. And final part of the video as well, I want to give you guys an update for the altcoin season index. I'm just going to give it a refresh. I'm going to keep updating you guys on the altcoin season index because it's so important to track. Pretty much every time the altcoin season index has gone above 75, that's pretty much your prime spot to actually start taking profits, because you really don't have much time left. Like looking at 2021 bull market, once it got above 75, you had pretty much, 26th of March to June. Yeah, you pretty much had like 2 or 3 months left for the bull market, assuming it lasts that long. That's pretty much the maximum it has actually lasted for the altcoin season index to last above 75. If we go back to this bull cycle, back in November, it pretty much lasted like 2 weeks. And yeah, so like you just guys got to be careful and really monitor this. I will be tracking it and updating you guys. But as it stands, it's looking like we're going straight up from here, going to hit that 75 altcoin season index, probably sometime in August, I would say. Because every time really we got above the 50 area, we had pretty much what? So like this one here, 12th of December to January. Yeah, so you pretty much had a month to go to the 75 region from the 50 number. So let's see where it goes. I will keep updating you guys. But it's looking really good, because that would actually mean end of August, we'll have an altcoin season. And I do expect Bitcoin to be well into the 150K region by August. And yeah, it's just looking really good because Ethereum is just looking absolutely amazing. And there is actually another chart to show you guys as well. Chart from CW, he's showing the Ethereum dominance, and it's just been steadily rising. Something really important to note is, where's the resistances? The major resistances is so much higher than we are currently right now. So I really do think these are magnets for Ethereum to go to. And it just shows me Ethereum is going to start gaining strength and market share for the remainder of his bull cycle, which would just help our base native token assets so much. And I really do think that Toshi will be one of the first runners of base chain, because like I said before, Toshi is the #1 base native meme coin on base chain. And generally for this bull cycle at least, meme coins have run first. and then utility tokens. So that's why I really like covering Alien Base to you guys, because Alien Base is one of the best utility tokens on base chain. Of course, it hasn't been listed on Coinbase, so I guess that's some speculation as well. It hasn't used up yet because it could potentially get listed on Coinbase, because Alien Base is one of the most OG base native token assets on base chain. It literally TGE'd August 2023, which is when base chain actually released. And this just tells me look, Alien Base has pretty much one of the best chances of getting Coinbase listing because it's so OG. If we go to other tokens, like of course Toshi got listed on Coinbase, but even Dog and Me got listed on Coinbase, and Dog and Me was another OG token, as well as Degen, and Aerodrome. So it just really tells me like Alien Base has really good chances, and when it comes to risk reward, that adds another point to it, because if it does get listed on Coinbase, like look, the sky's the limit. And it may even potentially gain even more than 20% of Aerodrome's market share in the future. So that's all to the video, guys. Hope you guys like this one. Let me know if you guys like these bonus videos where I cover specific coins and why I really like them. But yeah, that's all to the video, guys. Have a good one. Have a good day. Peace.